Well, we all certainly hear about it all the time. The First Amendment, which protects our right to free speech, religion, and of course the free press. But it does have its limitations. So in this week's Know the Law segment, attorney Tom Sinas joining us to tell us about some of those limitations. Tom.
So Derek, just a few days ago on September 17th, we celebrated Constitution Day.
Sure.
And there were educational programs in some of the local public schools to teach some of our high schoolers about the Constitution. And of course, when you talk about the Constitution, you talk about the Bill of Rights, and the number one amendment is the First Amendment, right?
Absolutely.
And it is what we refer to as the right of free speech. And, you know, I've done the Constitution Day program before, and one of the things that I think is easy to forget is exactly how the First Amendment is written. It's a really short sentence, and it says as follows: Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. One thing that I think is easy to forget for even adults is that the first word of the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law.
Right.
Maybe you've heard your kids say to you, well, you know, Dad, it's a free country. I can say what I want.
Right. Doesn't mean you can't get fired for saying something stupid. Doesn't exactly. That's where you're going. Right.
Right. And in your house, you're not Congress.
Right.
Right.
That's exactly. Well, I may be, but that's a whole other story.
That's a whole other segment.
Yeah.
But the idea here is that the rights enumerated in the Bill of Rights are meant to limit the power of government.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't necessarily apply to private individuals.
Absolutely.
In order to have a constitutional right violation, you have to have what is called state action. Now, over the years, the United States Supreme Court has held that Congress not only means Congress in Washington, but also state and local governments. In addition, the court has held that the right of free speech is not unbounded and absolute.
Right.
There are certain limitations, and this goes back a long time in our jurisprudence. For example, the court held a phrase that we now know to be sort of common speak, the phrase clear and present danger.
Can't yell fire in a crowded movie theater.
Exactly. The idea that there are certain kinds of speech that one can utter that creates a clear and present danger, and that kind of speech can be restricted. Another kind of speech that can be restricted is what we sometimes refer to as content-neutral speech. For example, suppose the city of Grand Rapids says that nobody can speak with a bullhorn after 11 o'clock at night. Well, that's limiting speech, right? It's saying you can't speak after 11 o'clock at night, but it is applied to everyone equally.
Exactly, there we go.
And generally, the courts have held that when speech is limited to everyone equally, and it's not aimed at a particular type of speech or a particular type of person, the government can impose reasonable limitations on speech.
Makes sense.
Over the years, the courts have also said that if someone is harmed by another's speech, this is sometimes what is referred to as libel or slander, that the person who is harmed can seek legal recourse against the one who speaks or writes the allegedly harmful statement. And we have, even though we have the First Amendment, we have for hundreds of years allowed people to pursue those claims. We hear a lot more about those claims now in the media in light of what's going on in Washington. But, you know, I thought it was a good time of year just to review that favorite and First Amendment, the right of free speech.
Oh, yeah.
You can't talk about it enough.
People throwing around a lot of times inaccurately. Good stuff. Where do people track you down, Tom?
They can give us a call in West Michigan at 616-301-3333. They can find us online anywhere at www.sinusdramus.com or shoot us an email at info@sinusdramus.com.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Derek.